Welcome back, everyone, to another Borderlands 4 theory crafting build video. I can't stop thinking about Borderlands 4. It's quite literally 95% of my thought process right now. A lot of content just came out from creators all around the community. Jolts, Mystic Siren, Birdman, Moxie, Killer 6, you name it, they're probably posting a video. They've been able to play the game and do one of the first story bosses. And within that gameplay, we saw a lot of builds being built out. And one in particular, specifically Jolt's video, he played as Amon. And immediately from his gameplay alone, I saw a build coming together in my mind. And I've thrown it together here on maxroll.gg. Absolutely check this site out if you haven't already. This build is all about freeze and critical hit damage. So in Jolt's gameplay, he would be constantly throwing his freeze axe to instantaneously freeze enemies, utilizing the Searing Cold augment. You just run up, pop them, they're dead. Super, super strong. And I wanted to build into that just a little bit more and pair it with some critical hit and melee damage. So let's get right into the build. The first thing you're going to notice, there's no capstone in this, but that's because I wanted to really build into this specific gameplay. So let's start at the top. We have 28 points in the green tree. We have 21 points in his red tree. Starting with the green tree, we have cast iron, 5 points into this. Amon gains increased forge skill, cooldown rate, and gun handling. Then we have the executioner. Amon gains increased critical hit damage, like we're building into with freezing and crit. This effect is doubled for a duration after dealing melee damage. So not only is this going to increase our critical hit damage, but anytime we hit an enemy with our axe, which does cryo melee damage, we're going to get it doubled. So we're going to get double the critical hit damage from this passive, and we're going to instantly freeze them from Searing Cold. In the second row, we have Destruction Engine. Amon gains increased forge skill damage and detonation damage. If you don't know, enemies that are damaged by forge axes are primed for a duration, and then they will detonate when they die or are damaged by a forge skill, dealing damage to nearby enemies. So we're going to freeze, prime them, hit them in the head with a critical. They're going to do detonation damage as well. And our axes are going to do more damage. In the third row, we have Bellows. Whenever Amon activates his forge skill, he gains increased gun damage for a duration. Activate the forge skill, pull out the axes, throw, freeze, gun damage is increased, critical hit damage is increased. Boom, dead. Moving over here to the third branch in our lower columns, we have Permafrost. Whenever Amon freezes an enemy, a cryo hazard is created under them, dealing cryo damage for a duration. We're going to instantly freeze with the Searing Cold augment. Create a cryo hazard. We're going to be doing more gun and critical hit damage. Especially for badasses, this is going to go crazy. Wild Heart. Amon gains increased status effect damage and hazard damage, buffing our cryo damage here for both the hazard as well as status effect. That is all for the green tree. Now we're going to head on over to the red tree. At the top, Discombobulate. Amon gains melee critical strike chance, maxing this out to get into the second row, where we are going with Gut Punch. Melee damage and ordnance damage have a chance to apply weakness to enemies for a duration. Weakened enemies deal reduced damage and take increased damage. Weakness is affected by status effect duration and is itself considered a status effect. So we also have the chance to apply weakness to an enemy when we hit them with our axe, allowing them to take even more damage. We also have Titanium Knuckles, which increases Amon's melee damage and skill damage. Then in the third row here, we have probably one of my favorite skills on Amon's tree, Forged in Steel. Amon becomes immune to all damage for a brief duration when he activates a forge skill, and that is 6 seconds. Then we have Bulletstorm. Whenever Amon applies a status effect, freezing, maybe weakness, he gains increased gun damage for a duration, and this effect can stack. I mean, we're building a lot into status effect here. We also have 2 points with Master the Storm, our final 2 points, which increases Amon's status effect damage and duration. So we freeze for longer, we apply weakness for longer, we deal more damage with critical hits, as well as melee damage. We also have a chance to critical hit strike with melees. This build, while it doesn't have a capstone, seems like it can wreak havoc. He's going to get immunities. He's going to deal a buttload of damage with melee, as well as gun damage and critical hit damage. And then our cryo damage with our status effects are going to do more damage. Plus, we're going to insta-freeze enemies on impact. Our flame axes will pass through enemies, so we can hit multiple with that, but we're mainly going to be utilizing the frost axis so we can freeze on impact. We're also going to be dealing melee damage with that. Then we're going to be instantly freezing those enemies, creating a cryo hazard. And then our status effect and hazard damage is going to be doing more damage there. And then we just walk up to a frozen enemy, critical hit, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. And then don't forget, we still have our double edge crucible action skill, which is press and hold action skill to throw a twinned forge axe, dealing cryo melee damage to enemies it passes through. And then when it returns to Amon, it deals instant melee damage. So that's also going to be buffed from our melee damage buffs here. Not to mention, we're also going to get immune for 6 seconds when we activate a forge skill. I don't know, man. This build seems like it could be a lot of fun. I'm really excited to test this one out. Honestly, I think this might be the build I start with, mainly because it's super easy to get the main portion of our build at level 16, because we just need 15 points here to get to level 16, which unlocks all of these rows, and it also unlocks Searing Cold. So we can put that on right away, super early into the game, and be freezing enemies on impact, and then we can build around it with the rest of the build as we progress through the game. I just can't stop thinking about Borderlands 4. I'm so excited. I can only imagine everyone else's too. This gameplay has just made me want it more and more and more. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little build. If you did, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be pumping out Borderlands 4 content. I'm going to be live streaming probably 24 plus hours on launch day. So make sure you guys come jump into chat, share what you guys are doing. I'm going to be looking for as much things as I can find, dedicated drops, you name it. We're going to be recording content live over there. It's going to be a great time. So make sure you guys check out the description for all my socials so you can follow me everywhere and not miss a video. If you guys are going to try this build out, let me know as well. What other builds are you going to be trying at launch? Do you have one in mind that you want to run with? Let me know. Thank you for making it to the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. See you guys in the next one. Peace.